So our next speaker is Pavel, who doesn't like ice cream in winter. He likes glühwein, which is fine. Get it up here, Pavel.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, so my name is Pavel Chinaev, and I'm continuous delivery architect at Live9 IT Services. With my daily work, I help our customers to assess, create, and optimize the way they deliver applications to production. And today I'd like to talk about the lean part of IT. But this is a talk more about principles, and you'll see how the lean developed over years. And again, I will cover more principles, because lean is not something you can just start working. It's more philosophy, more culture, more ideas that exist there. I am not facilitated with any lean workshops or trainings. I don't have belts that they have. I don't have Six Sigma certificates and nothing like that. But this is what I read about, this is what I see. All these ideas apply nicely to DevOps, and you will see how. And actually, in a big sense, to me, there is an equality sign between lean and DevOps. And you can think of this as a common sense, because actually it is. In any point in time of this presentation, if you have any questions, or if you disagree with me, or if you think that you can add something, just raise your hand. It is okay to interrupt and ask questions. It's not a problem. If you want to wait till the end, that's not a problem either. But if you have something specific about what I'm talking, just do it now, at that moment in time. Yeah, I had a rough day, and this is my last day before holiday. So I'm still having trouble switching off work, and even removing emails from my phone doesn't help. So if I start sound boring, just throw something at me. I need to wake up, and I will return to it. Okay. If you don't want to provide feedback by raising your hand, you can tweet it. There is a tweet handle. Show me or tell me what is good, what is bad, the parts that you would like to learn more, or where I suck at. So again, any feedback is a good one. So just help me here. Okay, quickly before I start, the company I work for, so the company is called Live9. We're a software development company. We're a company of more than 700 people in 7 offices. So we have head office in Amsterdam, and 3 development centers in Serbia, 1 in Romania, 2 in Ukraine. And yeah, we develop software mostly for Dutch customers. We split them into 5 industry sectors. And in the 2015 Hirate all-sourcing performance reached 100% customer satisfaction score. In 2015 survey we did also good. It will be published this autumn. Quickly about me, I have 12 years of experience. Started working in 2004. I come from Ukraine. I used to live in Estonia. And in Estonia I was working at the shipbuilding factory. That was part of the big Admiral Maersk how to call it, I don't know, huge company around the world. And there I actually was exposed to this interesting world of manufacturing. And a lot of things I noticed there, or I was just working with, I just had no clue then about, but only now I'm still reinventing and revisiting those, and I see how they apply. And I will mention some of them during the talk. 2 years ago I moved to the Netherlands. Yeah, I like it here so far. I want to stay. I love cycling. I won't tell the story of the cycling this time. I love Dutch language. And this is also something that I'm improving. I keep telling that I'm improving this. Just one piece of advice for you now. I generally ask for advice, but this time I can give one. So there is a series of books called Lees Licht. Generally it's created for children. Just the books that are written in a simple Dutch language, so kids can read it, or people like me. And if you're studying Dutch, really, I advise, I started reading those books and they're perfect. You just don't read some tiny piece of news. This is just full story, and this is just really great how you can understand it. Okay. Yeah, I like software development and delivery processes. This is actually what I work for, and the important part of it is working with people. This is what I like. Good, we've done with the introductions. But actually no, sorry. I would also talk quickly about continuous delivery. Being a continuous delivery architect, I want to, well, to tell a bit about how I think what continuous delivery is. So I think this is continuous delivery. It's an end-to-end process that starts with the envision of some idea. It goes through the planning phase, through the coding phase, through the building, testing, releasing, and then operating in production. And this is actually needed because, yeah, we need to implement these features and we need to implement this quicker and quicker and quicker. But the problem is that you never know if the feature is really going to be used by users or it's a waste. So this is why people started to focus on this time to market is not only just delivering a feature, but also trying it. Will users need it or not? And this is why we want to increase the speed of delivery, increase the speed. This is why we automate the process. This is why we focus on the speed of delivery. However, as I always say, quality is more important. You can reach speed only by ensuring the quality. And this is also one of the most important parts of Lean. You will see it soon. Only by focusing on quality you can achieve the speed. Speed is in a way byproduct of establishing quality of your applications. And you can do it by having two ideas in mind. The most important, I believe, for continuous delivery is keep the product releasable with every commit. Again, it's obvious, and build the quality in. And build the quality in is also one of the Lean principles. You will see it soon. DevOps and how it applies to DevOps. So, as Gerard has already showed, it was counts. And it started with counts, it started with 4 letters. And then the guys thought, okay, we can add Lean to it and we can pronounce it the same as 2 counts. This is how English language works. So in a way nothing has changed because Lean actually, from the ideas perspective, it doesn't have anything to culture automation, measurement and sharing. Lean is about all of this. But also it needed to be separated. Really as a separate statement because it's much deeper than that. And it's years of experience of people's work, how to do and how to run business, how to run processes and how to improve it all the time. So yeah, this is what I'm going to talk about, Lean. I will start with the history of Lean, then I will talk quickly about the principles, how everything evolved. Then I will go to the idea of Lean software development, and this is where I will spend a bit more time, because the principles of Lean software development, this is what I want to compare to DevOps, and you will see that in a lot of senses they are the same. And we will see. At the end I prepared some interaction exercise, where I need feedback from you. I'm not sure if we will have time and if you will be interested, but we will try and we will see how it goes. But first, yeah, the history of Lean. And yeah, it started with Henry Ford, really. Here I fully agree with you, because this was the first line, the first manufacturing line where the idea is that you split the work into stages, into workstations, and each person is doing only his part of work, and he's focusing only on that one. And then with this you can create a flow through the system and deliver products at a big scale. And he was producing for 19 years the same model. There was no variety at all there. There is a famous quote that you can select any color of 4T as long as it is black. So yeah, no variation. Generally they had everything was the same. For years and years they could produce the same model. But this is not what the customers needed. Interesting. Customers want variety. If for 19 years you're producing the same car, you keep buying a new car and everyone has the same car, you just have no means of differentiate yourself, and this is what we as humans want. We want to differ from somebody. So his model just didn't have any support for variety. But this is where Toyota and Japanese manufacturers started to excel. And this is the system that they've created of producing it. This is what's called Toyota Production System now. And if we go to the website of Toyota Production System, they say that they have 3 main principles for that, or 3 main principles. First of all, it's continuous improvement. This is what is called Kaizen. This is just tiny improvements every day through experimentation that brings you to better processes. And this work is never done. You can't achieve best process. It's always leaves something to be improved there. Just-in-time production. This is a really big thing, but the idea is that, well, you shouldn't produce something just in case. And you shouldn't produce something that will be waiting. You should produce something in time when it's needed. But okay, we'll get to that. And automation. If something can be done by robots or by automated process, this is better than humans doing this. Humans are error prone. So this is all these ideas, and they were transformed into ideas of lean manufacturing. And I will talk first about principles of lean manufacturing. And the main principle, and this is also, it will go throughout the whole presentation, is elimination of waste. And while it sounds interesting, this is really one of the main ideas for continuous improvement. You need to find out what is the wasteful part of what you're doing and just remove it. This is how do you improve. And you need to do it all the time. Respect for people, and respect for people is also something that, many companies say they do, but reality is different. People are crucial here. And also this agile transformation tries to do people over processes, but still you see a lot of companies that, claim to do it, but then the manager comes and tells everyone how to do and what to do. Pull instead of push. This is also one of the ideas of streamlining the processes and how this can be done. Just in the production as a manager and build the quality in. What I think was one of the biggest successes for Toyota being, creating their products is the idea that they must focus on quality. And only by establishing quality they can win the market. Now I want to talk about the forms of waste, because these are, the parts, and I put it on the first place. So first of all, it's the waste because of variation. They call it mura. I don't know Japanese, but every lean presentation has some Japanese words. Some of them have even hieroglyphs. I don't have those, but I have some of these names. So the idea is that in the manufacturing system, variation is really what kills your products. You want your products to be identical, and you want them to be as identical as possible. And a huge part of Six Sigma culture is just to remove this variation as much as possible. Because it costs money. The second part of waste is the waste because of unreasonable work, or overstressing people, or overstressing machines, or overstressing equipment. You just, a lot of people do it even without understanding this. Like this can be overwork. Does this overwork, is it needed? Or it was just there, put in place because somebody planned it incorrectly? Or somebody promised something unreasonably. This is a form of waste because it doesn't lead to good results. And finally, muda is a waste that doesn't add value. And you can see that there are a lot of processes in the system that just don't add value, but people have to do them. And there might be some processes that are completely unnecessary, and you can just stop doing them and nothing will change. Or some of them are necessary and they are like evil. Well, you have to face them, maybe make them smaller, but you still have to do them. And we will try to think what kind of waste applies to IT, but later in the presentation. This is the interaction exercise. Okay, type of waste that they created, they identified in manufacturing transportation. You don't want to move goods around or to move things around. You just, lose energy for that, but it doesn't add value to the idea of creating product, providing something like value for the customer. Waiting, if you at your workstation have to wait for materials or for somebody to come to do something, this is a waste because this is not helping delivering products or creating products. Overproduction. You don't need more than you can sell, because you need to store it, it might not be needed, and you already have created have put resources into this. And if it will never be sold, this is a waste. You don't need to overproduce. Defects. Defects lead to rework. Rework is always a waste. You need to do the same thing again. And this also increases the price of your product. This is not something what you want to do. Inventory. Inventory is something that we store in minimal between stations. Like in the factory, for example, I can take a piece of metal and it can be stored and waiting for operator of plasma cutting machine to be working on it. This inventory is a waste. It requires space. In IT, it's not very visible, but in manufacturing, this is a huge thing. It needs to be stored somewhere. Somebody needs to see that it's not stolen, and this is money. This is always money. Movement. If you have to move somewhere to do your work or to move somewhere to get approval, this is a waste of time. Again, it's not adding value. Or extra processing. If you're working more than required on something, like why are you doing this? They also created some metrics that you will see also very useful. The process time. This is the amount of time each stage takes. How much time does it take? Delay time, if you have to wait, how much time do you wait? Lead time, the moment you start working on something and the moment you finish it. And the number of complete and accurate tasks. This is something that how many defects do you have, how much reward do you have. And this in many cases principles and metrics that we look in the software delivery process as well. Another idea of lean manufacturing that they came at, this is widely used now, is planning to check act. This is how continuous improvements are run. You first come up with the idea of a change, and you create a plan for this change. How am I going to implement it? What am I going to try? And you also predict the results of this change. If I implement this change, this is what will happen as the result. Then you execute it, you do. And you do it in a small scale, in a test environment, in a controlled environment. And then you check the results. And based on these results, you decide whether you continue with this change, with this idea, or you just stop it and try or come up with another idea. Because in these results, you can see, is it working for me, is it not? I predicted some results of these changes. Am I achieving these results or not? And then if you do, you act, you implement on a bigger scale, or just, or on every environment. But this is the loop everyone is doing anyway when they're doing improvements. However, if you don't plan, it's easy just to go with some improvements. I think we need to do this. You think you need to do this. Who is right? How to control which of the ideas to plant? It's just hard to say. So from the lean manufacturing, because it was really for creating cars, for assembling cars, this just moved to a wider idea of lean thinking that applies to general management. And they value these 5 main things. Like value, they value value. They focus on value, and this is the first thing, on creating value streams, how you deliver value through the flow, how you streamline it, creating the pull system, and more general perfection. And their principles in the thinking are build the quality in. Again, the very same one. Understanding takt time. And this is, again, it applies general to the process management, but the takt time is the amount of time between you can produce a product. It's not the amount of time it takes to produce a product. It might take, for example, 4 months for you to produce a car, but if you're capable of producing a car every 5 minutes, your takt time is every 5 minutes. And you are arranging your processes around these 5 minutes iterations to deliver your product. And you run many flows simultaneously, just to keep producing at your pace and the flow you want. Reducing batch sizes. And in manufacturing, this is very, how to call it, it's illogical idea as it seems. Because generally, the bigger the batch sizes, the lower the price is. But then we come with the overproduction idea. You create huge batch sizes, you create a lot of products. Will they be sold or not? You never know. And with reducing the batch size, you can just be more agile, you can react to the customer needs. If customer needs a green car now and not the black one, but you produce 1,000 black cars, well, you're out of luck. But if suddenly they want green cars and you keep producing them and you can switch quickly. By reducing batch size, you can react on these needs and you can change what you're producing. Creating the whole system, creating continuous improvement, and focusing on a long-term goal. This is also something that, is scarce in nowadays world, especially for the public companies and the companies that trade their stocks. Investors are mostly interested in short-term return of investment. But the decisions you make for short-term are really bad for the long-term. Because, well, you can cut the cost. Let's fire half of the people. Will really have a huge investment in the short term, but will increase innovation or will probably make people just more busy and producing less work. In long term, this is a bad result. But something focusing in the long term, like training people, improvements, they are never visible in short scale, in a couple of days or months or even years. And this is different. Yes, please.
On the terms pool and pool system.
Say again? Pool system?
Yeah, what is pool system? What is pool?
So generally when you move with the production line or you move well, in any stage in manufacturing, you create something and you push your work to the next stage. But then if the next stage is slower than you, they will just start creating inventory for you and they can't, for example, how to call it, they can't cope with your amount of work you produce. And you at your stage, you don't care, you just keep pushing your work and something happens there. And with the push idea, you always start from the beginning, from the raw material, and then you end up with the product that is created. With the pull, you do it from the other perspective. You start with the customer value, with the product that you want to produce, and then you pull the first thing, the product. And you go along the line and you create this pull system that you can only take the new work when your current work is done. It doesn't matter what happened before. So the previous stage may stay idle for a while because you have no capacity to pull more work. So it's a different perspective where you start from. You don't start from the raw material and then with the result of your product. You start with the product and end with the raw material. And you streamline the whole system around that. Oh, and then we move to Lean IT. Because also, well, Lean thinking is a general management idea and it was transformed to ideas of Lean IT. And the goals of Lean IT, well, the principles are more or less the same, but the goals are, as always, increase productivity, increase customer benefits, and will create continuous improvement process. But in a way, Lean IT was or is about transforming this or creating or manufacturing business services based on these Lean ideas. Because IT departments are in a way, well, they're providing services to other departments in the company. And how you do it, so you better align IT with business by putting the business in the first place, how you deliver value to it. And there were some trends into this that happened throughout 80s, 90s, and zeros and tens even. The first trend was reducing cost. It's a way of eliminating waste, if you think. Six Sigma, so you want to run your department as smooth as possible. And you want to transform it to utility. Again, something mentioned by Girard, it's on the right scale of all those pictures. You want your IT services to be transformed into utility, so more people can run them. This is something when we're talking about self-service environments, automation of, well, anything. This is mostly about this. And also in the same way, it's outsourcing. Because if you are transforming your services to utility, you don't need to produce your own services. Like you don't create your own electricity. Okay, we're getting back here with the solar panels, but generally there are a lot of things you don't do because it's not efficient. In the same way, cloud now. Most people will stop running their own physical service. Most people stopped, but a lot of companies still think it's needed. But anyway, you can't run more efficient data center than Amazon or Microsoft or Google. So you need to outsource this idea of the service of providing you infrastructure to somebody and create less waste in your department as the result. And this to me seems in a way to be a conflict with DevOps. Because, well, it's operational excellence, what Lean says, versus innovation and disruption. Yeah? Or maybe predictability versus experimentation. Or standards and avoidance of any variation compared to unstructured and uncertain worlds or where DevOps in. But yeah, these this what I think depends on your view, because I think they actually work really good in common, because it's not only about cost, and if you want innovation, well, it's not about cost, it's about continuous learning. And DevOps is about it, but Lean is about it. You will see some. It's about building the quality in, it's about visualizing anything, like but first the flow of your work, thinking back from the customer value, and most important, not from your current capabilities. This is what a lot of people do. Oh, I'm capable of doing this, let's do this. No, what you need to do to satisfy companies, and then transform yourself to what you need to do. And obviously, embrace uncertainty. And here I had the slide from the same series you had with the pioneers, town settlers and town planners. I now regret removing it. And Lean indeed, in most cases, and especially manufacturing and process management, belong to the far right end of it, transforming business to utility. However, it works perfectly, and ideas work perfectly general in DevOps in an agile way to create new products. There is no conflict here. And this is where we get to the Lean software development part. Because this is something that was, I believe, created at the end of the 90s by Mary and Tom Popendick. They used to work in 3M, and they saw the Lean manufacturing, how it's working, and Tom was working in the software development at 3M, and they just saw how everything is bad working, and they thought, why don't we apply the same principle but to software development? And this is what became principles yet again. But this time I will expand a bit more on those. But first, principles. Eliminate waste, very same thing. Amplify learning, yeah. Decide as late as possible. Deliver as fast as possible. Empower the team. Build the quality in, and optimize for the whole. And they did it in 1999 or 2000, and it looks as fresh in 2016 as it was then. I still think like, wow, if it was the ideas 15 years ago, why they're not still there in the wild? Okay, so first let's talk about waste. Again, this is a partially done work, or starting more than finishing. I see it a lot in software development, because, we are working on something, there is an interesting feature, just stop doing whatever you're doing, just start implementing those one. And generally, just sometimes you're working on something, you're stuck, and just think, okay, I will put it aside and start working on something new. This is a huge waste. You spend some time, you spend some money into implementing this feature, and it doesn't go anywhere. Why did it do it? You need to focus on finishing than to starting. Extra processes or bureaucracy. It can be meetings, it can be something report that you have today to provide. In most cases, they're not needed. Now with Agile, we're getting less and less of that, but still, you can see this happening in a lot of cases. Extra features, or some unnecessary code. I can't recall the statistics, but I think it was something that either half or third of features are never actually used by users. And this is a huge, this enormous waste, because people are putting their ideas, their mind, their solving problems to implement this, and this is never used by anyone. It can't be more tragic than that. And this is also a huge waste of money if you are a company owner or if you're running this process, because this was never actually needed by users. Task switching. Okay, I guess this becomes more and more obvious. If you are quickly changing the requirements and changing priorities, this really impedes your work. Waiting or delays in the development process. This is a huge waste. Motion, it's a nice one. If you have to move somewhere to do something, like to get written approval or to do, this is a waste of time. And again, defects. Whenever you produce a bug, you need to fix it, and this doesn't allow you to work on features. And you can think of this as the first way in DevOps. Remember, DevOps was columns, but also 3 ways in DevOps: system thinking, or just making the workflow from development to operations. This was the first one. The second one was creating feedback loops, and the third one was experimentation. This looks like the first way DevOps to me. Just really creating and improving the flow of work that can be delivered to production. And if you think of continuous delivery, it's getting work from idea to the implementation. as smooth as possible. So this was the first principle, eliminate waste. Now we go to amplify learning. And even before I start going into ideas, it's a third way into DevOps, experimentation. It's the sharing part of comms. And Lean talks about that. So Tom and Mary Povandik suggested pair programming. They learned this idea from XP, from extreme programming, and this is also counterintuitive. You think that you will waste time, but in most cases this produces better code and faster than if developers are working with their own code reviews. Some people use code reviews to implement quality. This is unreasonable, I believe. But code reviews to implement sharing of ideas is perfect. If you can't do pair programming, do at least code reviews, because you're looking how this was implemented by somebody else, and you're learning from how he or she thinks it was implemented. This is a huge sharing possibility to do the code reviews. Again, code reviews never establish quality. You can't find bugs, especially in the bigger code reviews. But to learn from big guys, from seniors if you're juniors, this is a perfect opportunity. Documentation? Yeah, most people hate documentation. But if it's created correctly, it really radiates information how your system should be used. And this makes your system really usable. And you can, you learn from this without wasting the resources on some support. Wiki, where people can share information. Commented code, I guess again obvious, but not a lot of people are doing this. Knowledge sharing sessions, very important, and training. And training is also something like investing in people. A lot of companies don't do that. A lot of times I saw on LinkedIn these flows that the question, what if we train people and they leave? And what if we don't and they stay? And this just fully applies here. Yeah, you can't cut costs, but who benefits from it? Learning is a very important part of everyday job. Decide as late as possible. This is another counterintuitive thing. Because generally you want to decide as early as possible. But in a lot of cases, especially if we're talking about decisions that are irreversible, you want to make them as late as possible. Because in the beginning, it's just too easy to make wrong decision. And once you made it, you committed to it. And just one maybe example. If you start with selecting the database engine, then you're doomed to use the features of this database engine and create your whole architecture, your whole business logic around the database engine. But then if you start doing it the other way around, you can think, okay, we have this type of data store, you connect like this, and you will select the engine that supports your business flow. And you keep your options for as long as possible. But also, in a way, by the time you make a decision, you commit to something, you're much more knowledgeable. You have tried a lot of things, and then it's easier for you to make the right decision. And too early, and you're limited by choice, yeah, without enough information. But also another thing here, that you should not decide too late. Because then, well, again, this part of waste, because, well, you can't be decisive in something. Deliver as fast as possible, and here is, I think, yeah, we can think about things, delivery, DevOps, agile methodologies. This just fully applies. This is what I believe DevOps is about, and this delivery is about. This is why we want to streamline the way applications are delivered to production. And shared responsibility, yes. Empower the people. And this is, yeah, also quite important thing. So responsibility for decisions, or how the work is done, or which tools to work with, or how to improve your work needs to come from the people doing the work. If you want to find a solution to some problem, in Lean there is idea of Gemba walk. You need to go to the floor where this value is created and solve the problem there. You shouldn't solve the problem at management level. You shouldn't come from management level, oh, I was yesterday on a meetup and there was a sales guy and well, their tool is so much perfect and they will give us discount. We're buying it tomorrow, everyone needs to use it. Is it tool needed? What problem does it solve? It needs to come from the bottom. And a lot of companies, just people forget about this because the management are obviously the most important guys. Their decision is just, their opinion is just most valued. Everything is based on them. but it should be the other way around. And in the ideas of principal development, all improvements must come from the team and not from the management itself. Build the quality in, and to me it's in a way the second way of DevOps. Quality is about feedback and creating the feedback loops. And one of the most important feedback loops is end-on core, or the idea of end-on, the idea of stopping the line. And it also connects with the empowering people, because you need to have some authority, to have some, to not be frightened by the idea that you're stopping the line and telling, whoa, we are not producing anything else until we fix this defect. Because fixing the bug, fixing the defect is only, the cheapest way to do it is immediately once it's found, not later. Later just is a lot more complex, and you don't add to the quality. Same, it's more visible probably on the manufacturing line. You can't take things from the manufacturing line to fix it. Or if you can, this is a very expensive process. It's easy to stop the line, to stop producing, implement the fix, and then see how you can prevent it from happening again. And you need to be empowered, it's supported by management to do it. Otherwise, it just, it seems really unreasonable to stop doing whatever you're doing. Same with the red builds. Again, pair programming, I believe pair programming improves quality. Test-driven development, this is controversial, but the idea of test-driven development, people who, and teams who try it, they see the improved quality. And this is a huge topic on itself. Constant feedback. Quality is established through feedback loops, and minimizing handovers. Again, I believe in 2016, with all the automated processes, we don't have them anymore. But in a lot of enterprises, if you come, still is there. We create a code, now we're waiting for somebody from QA to test it. Like, cool. And then we're aggregating some of the new features before we can push them to production. These are all handovers, and they don't provide any value. Continuous integration. In 1999, it was like a new and fresh idea. Now it seems that everyone should be doing this, and yet no. Still, some companies, we'll just try it later, create a product. At the end of the sprint, as generally people are doing this. It should not be done like this. And automation. Again, I think it's the second way of DevOps, and this is the idea of creating feedback loops in order to streamline your process. And this is where we're talking optimizing for the whole, not specific departments or team. The best known idea here is maybe described with the QA department, when in enterprises quality assurance is a separate department, and the management are questioned with increasing utilization of QA departments. But it comes also with the queuing theory, the bigger utilization, the longer the waiting time. You can't just, you need to, they come together. And the problem you solve for your particular department, this is huge, the utilization is big, everything is efficient, but for the whole flow, when everyone has to wait for a QA capacity to test your code, this is just a waste of time. And product orientation versus project orientation. This is the great thing, because with the product, your team keeps being responsible for something in the long run, and then you can implement some decisions that will benefit this in the long run. If you're talking about project, it's easier to just cut corners, execute quickly, and then move on to something else. It's just not sustainable. Problem solving quickly. Focus on tools, not on philosophy or culture. I believe DevOps is all about this. And all the people who sell DevOps, we've got perfect tools. Just buy our tool, it will change everything. But actually, the culture, this is what needs to be changed, and this is hard. Decide on a solution without understanding the problem. Lean, DevOps, Agile, everyone is doing this, and this is a common theme. Or cargo cult. Those guys implemented it like this. Spotify, I heard, is using this squad and tribes. We need to do it as well. And those guys are implementing this product, using this product. So if you want to implement something that somebody else is doing without understanding how it applies to your particular situation, this is a cargo cult. And in most cases, you will fail. I see a lot of discussions, Scrum is failing, Agile is failing, DevOps is failing, because people try to copy somebody instead of understanding how it applies to their situation. The same happened to lean and manufacturing in 90s, in 80s, when everyone was trying to copy what Toyota was doing without understanding why they were doing this. Because Toyota production system and all these ideas were actually results of them solving their own problems through this continuous improvement process. But you may end up in a different world, in a different end result than they did. So yeah, these are the principles. And again, to me, they are the same as the principle on DevOps. Well, they are not literally the same, but philosophically the ideas are the same. Really quickly about Lean Startup and Lean Enterprise, because these are the recent developments, the most recent developments in the Lean world. And then main idea, of course, is about build, measure, learn cycle. This is the idea. In a way, it is transform, plan, do, check, act. But from the world on how you implement the feature, which features are needed by users. It started, of course, from startup because you want to find out something the customers will pay for, and you're constantly experimenting by coming up with the idea, implementing it, and getting the data to see to validate your idea. This is also why it's called validated learning, because you are creating these minimal viable products, and you're checking if this is what the customers need. You implement it, you put it into production, you get the feedback. Are we making money? Are we losing money? Do we get more users? Somebody is using this feature? And if they do, you make more of this. If they don't, you just stop doing this. Or you pivot, what it's called, just create some other idea. I won't go there. Yeah, this is big. Anyway, this is the point in time where I had this waste generation exercise, but I'm already talking for 40 minutes. And I believe, yeah, we need to pass it. Let's not go there. This is what I want to...
Can you just give us an idea of how the exercise would go?
Well, let's think what kind of variation ways do we have in IT? Or unreasonable work on evaluating process. I just suggest we can do it, but after the talk. Again, I'm talking for 40 minutes. If we keep doing this, it's another 20. It just becomes too boring and too much. Yeah, I was talking too slow. Anyway, let me finish. Yeah. So I believe that the change of culture is the most complex one for Lean and for DevOps as well. It's not something you can just quickly change by buying a tool or hiring a consultant or just coming and saying, from today we do DevOps or from today we do Lean. This takes years and years, and people keeping working at the same company and the same team to change this culture, because this is everyday work. And yeah. So I want to end with these 4 statements. So empower the people. If you're a manager here, just trying to do it, it works. Build the quality in. If you're any team member, everyone is responsible for quality. It's not somebody else's job. Eliminate the waste. It comes in numerous forms, and we'll change the culture. And this is it. Yeah, thank you.